Be'ez Hashem Yisboch, we begin the Perek Revi, the fourth chapter in the Rambam's Hilchos Berachos, in the Laws of Blessings, in the Seif Hava Book of Love, which in this Perek we discuss regarding when does one have to go back and make a bracha again. As Rambam gives a lachaf regarding first the requirement that a blessing has to be made sitting, and it has to be made in a place where he ate. Whoever makes the bracha of benching, of berachas hamazon, of the grace after meals, or what's an abridged version of that, what we call the ala michra or the ala eitz, or ala gefen. One has to make that bracha in the place where he ate, which is the bracha achrayna after eating, which are specifically for berachas hamazon and the bracha achrayna of the achas mein shalosh. Now, achar kashu mahalich. If he ate while he was walking, yoshev b'makam shabasik. He should sit down in the place where he stopped. Yivarach and make the bracha sitting down. Achar kashu emet. If he ate while he was standing, again yoshev b'makam. He should sit in this place so that one should make the bracha with kavana. Yivarach and he should make the bracha. Now, shachach levarach berachas hamazon. What happens if someone forgot to make berachas hamazon? The niska kodim sheisakal hamazon should be made, and he recalls before the food has already been digested in his stomach. So then he makes the bracha in the place where he recalls. In other words, he's not obligated to go back to the place where he ate. But if he deliberately switched his place, then he has to go back to the place where he ate and to make the bracha over there, because the rabbis penalized him because he didn't make the berachas hamazon in the appropriate place. Now, if he did make the bracha in the place where he recalled, after the fact he has fulfilled his obligation. So too, if let's say he made the bracha while he's standing, or while he was walking, he has fulfilled his obligation. But look at initially, one should not make the berachas hamazon, but bracha shemin shalosh, and not the bracha achas mein shalosh. Only be sitting in the place where he ate. But again, after the fact, one will fulfill his obligation. Sif halacha beis. Halacha regarding a doubt or if he forgot. Let's say someone's not sure. Did he make a maitzi or le berachas maitzi? Did he not make the bracha before eating bread? Here he does not go back and make another bracha. It's not biblical, so the suffix draban is going to be lekula. Now let's say someone forgot to make a maitzi. Now he's not sure. He didn't make it. So if he recalls before he didn't finish his meal, he's still eating. He goes and makes a bracha because he still have the food that you're about to eat. But if you recall after you finish already, then you don't go back and make a bracha because it's only before you eat. You already ate. Halacha gimel regarding changing one's place, called shina makom. Someone was eating in one house. And he stopped his meal, he went to another house. Or he was eating. His friend called him out to speak with him. And then he went out to the opening outside of his house, and then he comes back. Since he changed his place from the room that he was in and he went outside, one has to first make berachas hamazon mafreya, going backwards on masha ochel on what he ate. Now he has to go back and make a new bracha of a maitzi on the new meal that he's eating. In other words, it's like a new meal. So you have to bench on the first one, and then you have to make a berachas of maitzi and then you can finish his meal, because when you switch your place, it's like it's stopping the eating, and it's like you finished. So you have to make a bracha achrayna on what you finished eating, and then by default you have to make a new bracha of a maitzi, because the bracha of the previous sud is not going to exempt this whole new sud that you're having afterwards. Halacha dal. If you had a group of people that were sitting together eating, they went out to greet the groom or the bride. So if they left the elder person there, or the ill person there that wasn't able to go out with the rest of them, then and then they could go back to the place and they could finish their suda. One does not have to make a second bracha, because since some of them remained, so it didn't nullify their original establishment of their meal. But if they didn't leave any person left over when they went out, then you have to make a bracha on what you had previously eaten. And when they go back, in other words, when they're leaving, they have to first make a berachas hamazon, because one's not supposed to leave before that, and you realize you're going out for the bride or the groom. Okay, make a berachas hamazon, when they come back, they have to make a new bracha of hamaitzi when they start continuing, but really like a new meal that they're having. Halacha so if they were reclining, sitting around drinking, or they're eating fruits, even though that reclining is not so permanent like those who sit around eating bread, in spite of this, if one of them remains, it also will have the same halacha, not mavat the kvisa they had, they would not have to make a new bracha. Now, this is going back on the ikar halacha in halacha dalad and hey, because whoever changes his place, that severs his eating. Therefore, you have to first make a bracha achreina on what you had previously eaten. And then you go back and you initially go and now make a new bracha v'amaitzi, or whatever it is that you're going to continue eating. Now, if someone changes his spot, however, from one corner to another corner in the same room, in the tzarech does not have to go ahead and make a new bracha. But if he's eating outdoors in the eastern part of a fig tree, then he's going to eat on the western side of the fig tree, there he'd have to go back and make a new bracha, because since the fig tree is in between the two places where he ate, it would be considered as a new area. They would have to make a new bracha. Halacha Vav continues regarding what blessings exempt other things. Beidach alapas. So if you made the bracha on the bread, Peter es hapaparois shoicham menapas. So that exempts the appetizer that eats the bread with mimini hatavshul, from different types of cooked dishes, or potatoes and fruits that you eat with the bread, or kitzim, all similar things. It's all included in the bracha of the bread. But if you made a bracha on the appetizer, that does not exempt the blessing for the bread. Similar type of contrast. If one makes a bracha on the foods that are made with different types of grain that are cooked in the pot, Peter as a tafshel, the bracha on that would exempt a cooked dish that's not from grain and it's not as sustaining as a ma'aseh gedera. So it's lesser and it would be secondary. But beidach al tafshel, if you make a bracha only on the cooked dish without grain, like Peter as ma'aseh gedera, that would not exempt the ma'aseh gedera, because since it's not as sustaining, it's not as significant to exempt the ma'aseh gedera that sustains. Regarding interrupting one's meal. If someone he had in mind, okay, he's done eating it or done drinking. Then he changed his mind, he wants to eat or drink. Even though he didn't change his place, we'd have to go back and make a new bracha. Because there's Mesiach Das already removed his consciousness from this first meal. So it's the bracha, the original bracha is not there anymore. Now, if it didn't make up his mind, rather his intent was to continue eating and drinking, then that fell apart even if he stopped eating the entire day, in the tzarech levarach sheinis, he would not have to go back and make a new bracha, as long as he has not in the interim gone out to another area. If they were drinking, which they would do at the end of their meals, when they said, okay, let's go and make berachos hamazon, let's bench. Let's go and sanctify. Let's make it early Shabbos. Let's start and sanctify the day of Shabbos. Already Nesar Alim Lishtes. Now they can't drink or eat anymore. Ad sheyavarchu. In the case of the first case, until they make berachos hamazon, because once they say let's bench, it's as if they started already the bracha and it's already your meal is over. Or they have to make kiddush, because now they eat and drink before kiddush. You said let's be makabel Shabbos. But let's say they want to continue drinking before they make berachos hamazon or before they make kiddush. Now, although they're not allowed to, as we just said, but if they will go, they have to go ahead and now make a new bracha when they're starting, because by saying they revealed their intention that they were done with the meal, and the bracha will not exempt what was previously made. So they have to make a bar priagafen, a new bracha on the wine, and then they can drink it. But in contrast, if they said let's do shal shudas, and they say, let's make Havdalah, let's end Shabbos ready, then they do not have to go back and make a new bracha, because if one started his Shalosh Shudas when it's still daytime, even if it's way after Shabbos, it doesn't end it. It's not considered like by Kiddush, like Shabbos starts automatically, and therefore even by saying let's go make Havdalah, it's not considered interruption to have to go ahead and make a new bracha. Now, halacha test regarding if one is drinking wine, as we said, there are certain times that you would make a new bracha, but not for the Bar Priagafen. Let's say they were reclining, drinking wine. And then someone brought a different type of wine. Let's say they were drinking red wine. Someone brought black wine, a yashan, or it was old wine, and someone brought new wine. They don't have to make a bracha on the wine a second time. What they do make is a bracha to Hashem, the King of Hashem, our God, King of the world, hatoiv v'hametiv. That's good and does good. He's good, meaning for me, and he does good for others who are having pleasure with me with the wine, this new type of wine that we're going to drink. Halacha regarding the bracha has to be made directly on the food or drink that one is going to eat. So one does not make a bracha on any food that he's going to eat, or any beverage that he's going to drink, until it's brought in front of him. Let's say someone made the bracha, and only then was it brought in front of him. So you have to go ahead and make a bracha over again. Now, let's say someone took a food out of it and he made a bracha on it, but enough of the other minister, if it fell out of his hand, went straight into the grill and it got burnt. Or it fell into the river and the river took it away. So you take another food, and you have to make a new bracha on it, even from the same type that you'd make the bracha on, because when you made the bracha, it was intention the one that you're holding in your hand, and that got lost. But you have to say, Baruch Shem, blessed is the name, Kavod Machusei, the glory of his kingdom, forever and ever. Al Bracha Rishon, the first bracha that he made, which was essentially in vain because he had to make a new bracha, and that one was not on anything. So when you say Baruch Shem Kavod Machusei, that's Kadesh Lo Leiter Shem Shemaim Lebeto. The one should not say out the name of heaven in vain. So when you say Hashem's name and then you say Baruch Shem Kavod Machusei, it's a glorification of his name and not that it was said in vain. A person could stand on the side of a stream of water. You can make a bracha and drink. Now, although the water that was in front of him when he made the blessing, it's not the water that he drinks because the river is constantly flowing. Yeah, that's that was his original intent. He knows it's flowing. In contrast to what we said before, when you dropped something and the river took it away, that was not your intent for the other food item, and therefore there you would have to make a new bracha. What's included in the meal? So things that come during the meal, and they're because of the meal. In other words, let's say meat and fish, which are normally eaten with a bread meal. So one does not have to make a bracha rishayna on them before one eats, and one does not have to make a bracha achrayna on those things specifically after they eat. Rather, the bracha of amaitzi on the bread initially, or and the benching that's done at the end on the bread, exempts everything that's included for the meal. Because everything is secondary to the meal, which is primarily the bread. Now, things that are not because of the meal, in other words, like figs and grapes, which are not generally eaten together with bread, and they don't come to satiate, if they come in the meal. So, tune the bracha lefnei, you would have to make a bracha before you eat those things, because they're not from the primary meal, so the bracha on the bread would not exempt them, but one would not have to make a bracha after eating them, because the bracha exempts whatever comes in the meal. Now, however, so the things that come after the meal, like a dessert, whether because of the meal, whether not because of the meal, one would require bracha before and after, because the bracha of amaitzi and the berachos hamazon does not exempt only things that are eaten because of the primary meal, not these things that come as the dessert. Halachid beis. On Shabbos, Yom Tov, or Besudas HaKazas Adam, or on the meal when they do, after they did the bloodletting, when they were weak, they would eat a meal. Over Shosh on the Merchaz, or when he comes out of the bathhouse, similar types of situations. Shodim Keveya, Sudas Al Yain. Those times they would establish their meals on wine. Shabbos, Yom Tov, of course, and on bloodletting, these things were good for them to have wine when they come out of the bathhouse. So in those situations, in Berach Al Yain Shlefnei HaMazon, if you made a bracha on the wine before the meal, Peter it's going to exempt the wine that you're going to drink after the meal, which you're making a bracha on before you were doing benching, because since he knows he's going to drink wine after the meal, his intent already was, in the beginning when he made the bracha, that it should go on those things too. But all other days, which a person not necessarily is going to have another cup of wine, so then he has to go ahead back and initially make a new bracha on the wine that comes after the meal before Berachos Hamazon, because he didn't know he was going to have it, so his intention and his focus of the bracha was not on that. Now, when they get wine in the middle of the meal, if that's when the wine is initially brought, everyone should make their own independent bracha, and you shouldn't have one person exempting everyone else, because their throats are not available when you're in the middle of eating to respond amen, and it would be dangerous if they actually answer amen. So let everyone make their own bracha. And moreover, does not exempt the wine that comes after the meal, because the wine that comes in the middle of the meal is just to help the food digest. It's not so significant to exempt what comes after the meal, which is a more type of a dignified type of a drinking. Hence, it would not exempt that drinking of the wine of after the meal.